piece. Before I begin, I have a couple of announcements. It's nice since we have guests from outside of Bahrain and outside of the club, I'll just go quickly of what we've been up to at the Rotary Club of Salmaniya. We started the Youth Leadership Program, which is a joint project with the Manama Toastmasters Club. Based on the recommendation of Rotary International, we started work with the Manama Toastmasters Club in organizing a youth leadership program, which is the second year we're organizing this program. And we just started the first week with 5 high schools with 25 participants from the high schools. And Rotarian Hanadi, the youth service director, is doing a really good job managing the program. We also started Raila. Raila is going to start very soon. All the clubs it's a joint project with all the Rotary clubs in Bahrain. And incoming President Amal Khoji is doing a good job from the Rotary Club of Adliya. So that's enough from the announcements. So I will open the floor to President Mohammed Khaja from the Rotary Club of Seef Bahrain, a co-host, to say a few words.
Assalamu alaikum jami'an. Shukran akhui Faisal. Thank you everybody, fellow Rotarians and guests, dear speakers. حياكم الله. شكرا على حضوركم. بتكلم شوي بالعربي وبعدين بقلب بالانجليزي. هذا احنا نادينا الاول في المنطقه اللي يتكلم ومسجل باللغه العربيه، اسمه نادي روتري سيف بحرين. تشرفنا بوجودكم، وتاسس في سنه 2020، واحنا نعتبر من النوادي اللي مثل ما تقول ابتدينا بالكورونا في 2020، والحمد لله مشينا على الزوم. و thanks to everybody. Fellow Rotarians and guests, welcome all. My name is President Mohammed Al-Khaja. I'm from Rotary Club of Seef Bahrain. As you know, our club is a new club, and I'd like to welcome the speakers for joining us. And well, I have a good experience as well with the cultural exchange myself with Moanes Almardi. We have selected to represent Bahrain, and this is Bahrain. In the United States, we have visited Washington and New York to represent and to spread love and peace among everybody. I was pleasure to be part of that team, and we met a lot of people as well. And up till now, they're good friends. And thank you, President Faisal, for organizing this. And Dr. Dhafer, shukran jazilan ala موافقتك إن to chair this thing together. Shukran jazilan.
Okay, thank you very much, President Mohammed Khaja. Now we'll hear a few words from President Tanima of the Rotaract Club of Bahrain.
Hello, a very good afternoon to all of you, and a very warm welcome. At first, I would like to say it's an honor for us Rotaractors being in presence of such esteemed people as all of you. Thank you so much. And especially a warm welcome to one of our biggest supporter, DDG, Dr. Dhafer Alumran, for hosting this event. And also Mr. Mohammed Zarkani and Mr. Moanes Almardi. And also, it's an honor for us to have Her Excellency Nancy represent Rotaract Bahrain on this platform. So thank you so much. Warm welcome. This topic is, it's a very close topic. I feel it's very close to our heart because cultural exchange is an ultimate exchange because it helps. There is a unity in diversity, and diverse background helps in improving and building people's life around us, which in turn creates a wide impact, as we believe as Rotaractors and Rotarians that compassion and human connection is the process that will allow us to create a more sustainable civilization and move into the future in order to thrive for generations to come. So thank you so much again to all the Rotarians for their support, and a noble topic. Hope you all have a blessed day ahead, and hope you enjoy this discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, President Tanima. So without further ado, we'll start today's program. DDG Dhafer, please, the floor is yours. I'll leave it to you.
Thank you, President Faisal. Dear Rotarians, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to be with you today to discuss a very important topic. It took me a while, me and President Faisal, to figure out what to say today, what to talk about, especially that Rotary is celebrating Peacebuilding and Conflict Prevention Month. So we thought, we in Rotary, we don't speak politics, we speak social, and we are a social club. And what matters to us is we speak for what's the interest of our community. Dear Rotarians, today, at the end, me and my friend, President Faisal, picked a title, Cultural Exchange, because we believe that cultural exchange is the way towards peace in this part of the world. Without people getting together, without people understanding each other, without people shaking hands with each other, without people accommodating each other, we will never have a better world to live in. All these conflicts that we have is just because people are far away from each other. In Bahrain, we are the country of culture, I believe. Her Excellency Sheikh Hamay bint Mohammed has done a great job to bring Bahrain to the surface of the whole world, that we are really the country of culture, who we really are giving our hand to the whole world and sharing with them their cultures. This is the way to have better friends everywhere in the world. I want to better give more time for the speakers than myself, and therefore allow me to welcome our distinguished guests today. Her Excellency Nancy Khedouri, who is and also our friend His Excellency Mohammed Zarkani and His Excellency Moanes Almardi. Three excellent speakers who everyone from a different angle might be able to touch to us about the importance of cultural exchange this afternoon. So, further ado, allow me to start by welcoming our dear friend, Her Excellency Nancy Khedouri. Nancy Khedouri, she is a Shura Council member, a very active one. The best proof that she takes care of so many committees there, the Foreign Affairs, Defense and National Security Committee, and Youth Affairs Committee, and I'm sure other things, but which is hiding, that she does a lot of things with the Shura, and they are all proud to have her. And طبعا Bahrain is also proud to have her at the Shura, because she is a very giving, she's a giving person, and she tries to help her country in any way she can. So allow me to start with giving the floor to our dear Her Excellency Nancy Khedouri to go ahead and explain to you her point of view on cultural exchange. Nancy, you're welcome.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Deputy District Governor, past District Governor, all respected current presidents and past presidents of Rotary clubs, President of Rotaract Bahrain, dear Rotarians, Rotaractors and guests, protocol observed. As a Bahraini, I've always experienced that compared to what many around the world may have been less fortunate to experience. Culture comes in different forms and is generally considered to be collective ideas, customs, and social behavior of particular people or society. But these people or society that live differently to us, either by way of religion or by behavior, must never be regarded or be seen to be of a lower or higher standing than us, but to be regarded as our equals, who just happen to have a different interpretation of life, who must be respected for their beliefs and choices, even if it may not meet the standard norm of another. As all human beings are born equal in dignity and rights, everyone is under an obligation to respect the beliefs of another, even if they may not agree with it. And so, by making it a point to understand their cultural way of life goes a very long way towards acceptance. And His Majesty King Hamad, as a great inspiration and a prime example to us all, has helped to create a precedence, a great precedence, as to the meaning of cultural acceptance. Only when people universally start to open up their eyes, ears, minds, and more importantly, their hearts, will everyone come to understand that we all have much to learn from each other who are of a different background, religion, or culture. In order for the world to achieve peaceful coexistence, we must first welcome the diversity that our world has to offer into our countries, our homes, and to our hearts. And by doing so, our minds will naturally be broadened to what exists outside our everyday norm, which creates the possibility of change and evolution, and that can only occur with the basic fundamentals of acceptance and understanding, because the absence of such fundamental or underlying cause would be the lack of peace and coexistence. The Kingdom of Bahrain, as many may be already aware, is highly praised for its cultural diversity due to the King Hamad Professorship Chair in Interfaith Dialogue and Peaceful Coexistence at La Sapienza University in Rome, Italy, one of Europe's leading and most prestigious seats of learning. The King Hamad Chair is a new academic discipline and the first of its kind in the world, designed to enlighten and engage young people from around the world as a means to combat terrorism, extremism, and radicalization by studying the visionary leadership philosophy of His Majesty that is based on his belief that religion and cultural freedom is the foundation of peaceful coexistence with interfaith dialogue at its heart. And I quote from the Bahrain Declaration, "Ignorance is the enemy of peace, and faith illuminates our path to peace." Student cultural exchange programs play an important role in our way of life and have become an integral method of helping individuals to adjust and learn about new environments with emphasis on connect, transform the world. So not only is change chances of employability, quite often bring a fresh, different perspective to their work ethics and contribution. Employers, to my understanding, value virtues of adaptability, cultural awareness, coexistence, the so-called transversal skills. Benefits of international cultural exchange are truly infinite. Ask any student who has ever taken part in such a program. You will be told that they highly recommend it and that they have the time of their lives because, as Tanima rightfully said at the beginning, it brings unity among diversity. Bahrain has welcomed many consultants from various cultural backgrounds who serve within various organizations, both governmental and private, in hope that their cultural upbringing and educational expertise could guide us forward in a positive manner. Many others have been welcomed as investors, retirees, and employees. And by opening our doors and diversifying our cultural experience, the Kingdom of Bahrain has introduced itself to not only new forms of education, business interpretations of how non-Arab countries live their life, but to also the most dynamic diversification of cultural difference, which has helped create a dynamic diversification of cultural difference, which has helped create diversified networks, encouraging Bahraini citizens to learn different languages, have a passion to travel and interact with others from different cultural backgrounds, and be accepting of them. In conclusion, cultural awareness and cultural exchange within Bahrain has added value to the lives of many, by inspiring new forms of artistic expressions, such as dance, sculpture, music, photography, filmmaking, architecture, and even creating interest in tasting delicious traditional dishes of other countries, learning new recipes, sharing, and bringing in a blending a fusion of culture. And I thank you very much for your kind.
Thank you very much, dear Nancy. It was a wonderful presentation. I know I will leave the chance for others to ask questions, and I leave this to our President, Faisal, to conduct the question and answer sessions. I want allow me to move to the second part of this program. I would like to welcome our friend, His Excellency Mohammed Zarkani, who I don't have to present him to you guys. Everybody knows him, and we cannot talk about cultural exchange without going to our friends at the United Nations, especially the United Nations resident coordination guy, who is here to take care of us. He has been taking care of this topic for a long time, and we can always get some advice from him. And we are honored and happy that he is with us and going to speak to us for a few minutes about this important topic. Thank you. Please, Akh Mohammed, tfaddal.
Shukran. Thank you very much, Dr. Dhafer. I'm blushing from this very warm introduction. Really, thank you very much. For extending the invitation. I'm really very, very happy to be part of this distinguished panel today. I think Nancy has done kind of said everything that I wanted to say already. So it's a very tough act to follow. But I'll try to contribute a few thoughts from my perspective. So, honorable members of the Rotary Club of Salmaniya and the Rotary Club globally, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank the Rotary Club of Salmaniya and its board of directors for their kind invitation. It's a true pleasure to be among you today and participate in this roundtable on culture exchange. You know, people are naturally diverse. Diversity comes in multiple facets. Diversity in history, origins, trajectory, preferences, tastes, food, as Nancy kindly mentioned, but also opinions, just to name a very few. As such, we're all called to engage in a variety of exchanges: linguistic, commercial, political, and of course, cultural. From the Phoenicians that brought the first alphabet and the Tyrian purple to the rest of the world, to Arabs who transmitted and enriched ancient philosophy and developed algebra and the very system of numbers we use today, we cannot but exchange our knowledge and culture with others to grow and enrich ourselves as one human civilization. We exchange ideas, practices, knowledge, and world representations. This imperative to know each other is a blessing. And يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا. And in today's interconnected world, culture's power to transform societies is evident. Cultural diversity and exchange are indeed driving forces of development, not only for economic growth, but also for leading a more fulfilling intellectual, emotional, moral, and spiritual life. Unfortunately, and we must say, many of the world's major conflicts also have a cultural dimension. Therefore, exchanging on differences found among cultures, taking the time to learn about and reflect on otherness and diversity, and acquiring certain aspects of other cultures to enrich our own, all contribute to bridging the gap between perceived cultures' differences. It is also an urgent and necessary requirement for peace, stability, and development. Distinguished guests, let me tell you about my own exposure with cultural exchange. As a young Egyptian growing up in Egypt, I very early on developed the love for flying and discovering other cultures. Inevitably, this led me to go study my bachelor's degree in the Netherlands, a place far away from home. But my drive for cultural exchanges did not stop there. I chose a profession that fulfilled this constant desire for being confronted with diversity. So not only did I join the UN, but I also did so with the International Organization for Migration, IOM, where I would be engaging with people leaving their culture for another, a lot of times unwillingly than voluntarily. But this has become my calling, and I now focus on ensuring that migrants here arriving in Bahrain are also benefiting from culturally adapted onboarding into their new environment and surroundings. My other capacity as UN Resident Coordinator in Bahrain, I oversee over 20 other agencies that engage with several aspects of cultural exchanges, including in education, arts, sciences, and technology, with the aim to promote peace and sustainable development. We as UN also support the cultural exchange programs in the UN with the Kingdom of Bahrain through programs with UN volunteers and junior professional officers, where young Bahraini professionals join and benefit from being exposed to a plethora of cultures in the large melting pot that is the UN system. I'm also very aware and highly commend the program put in place by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister of Bahrain that aims to send new and promising young Bahraini talents to universities abroad so that they can acquire skills and gain exposure to different cultures that they bring back home to Bahrain. Ladies and gentlemen, another way to allow for cultures to grow is to allow for cultural exchanges from within, creating bridges between and providing support to the varied groups of amazing people that allow us to grow as a rich community when the needs of all are recognized, valued, and addressed. And as I speak to you today, I realize how much the Rotary Club has been contributing towards this goal. In particular, I would like to commend you on your outreach and support to children, people with disabilities, and other vulnerable groups. I look forward to our discussion today and hearing more of your incredible work, and I repeat my thanks and gratitude for the very warm and kind invitation today. Thank you very much. Over.
Thank you very much, dear Mohammed. I think I know you can say a lot of things, but sorry for the timing. We did not give you enough time, but whatever you said makes has enriched our session today. Thank you very much again, and we hope the question and answer sessions will allow more interaction between you and the people who are attending. Let me move, if you don't mind, ladies and gentlemen, to our very, very dear friend, the friend of Rotary, His Excellency Moanes Almardi, who his newspaper has been one of the most active newspapers in Bahrain. They have all kinds of Zooms. I try to attend most of them. It's very educating. They educate Bahrain. And today we would look forward that our friend Moanes can educate us a little bit with a short time on the importance of cultural exchange, which really leads to a better world around us. Thank you. تفضل أخ مؤنس.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Dear Rotary Club, President of Rotary Club, distinguished guests, I'd like to thank you to hosting me today. I would like to thank Dr. Dhafer that he was behind this beautiful invitation to be here. Regarding the cultural exchange, I would like to share a small experience that I practiced it in the United States in 1987 when I was studying in Miami, Oklahoma University. I had a class, English class called 101 English. And the teacher who teaching this class, she's teacher of American literature. Because the Miami, Oklahoma, it was in the Midwest, so it was a little bit weird to see someone, a foreigner there. And she asked me, where are you from? I told her that I'm from Bahrain. And of course, she didn't know where Bahrain is. I have to explain for her. She said, can I ask you something? I said, yes, go ahead. She said, please, I wanted to attend my class in American literature to speak about your country. I told her, what do you want me to speak? She said, just tell me, who are you? I said, okay. And she said, if possible, to read some Arabic poetry. I said, okay. And then I tell her, okay, how, and I told her it's very difficult to translate the Arabic poetry to English to understand. She said, do your best. Anyway, I went to that class, and the podium was a big podium. Maybe there were 3 classes together. They all have interest in American literature and international literature. And to see someone, maybe for them at that time, like an alien, standing among them and to speak about place, they never heard about it. Anyway, I told them, I came from country, it's an island country, but it's considered a hub of mixed culture and religion. I'm proud of that. And I spoke a little bit about Bahrain. Then they told me what kind, who's the best poets or the famous poets there in your country. At that time, I had Dr. Ghazi Qsaybi, his collection poetry. And I told them, this man, he is from Saudi Arabia, but his spirit are from Bahrain. And this is the beauty of my country. So I read some lines about his poetry, and I tried at that time, I hope I did a good thing, to translate his poetry. From that, I think when Dr. Dhafer told me about cultural exchange, I remember this story. I said, oh, I participate a little bit about the culture exchange from that time. Of course, in Bahrain, we are a symbol of this kind of cultural exchange. I think even I'm studying in the American Mission School or Al-Raja, there's a very small model of different nationalities in my school. So it's growing in us as Bahraini about this. Of course, the beauty of cultural exchange that you create for you a new environment. That this new environment, you will explore a lot of things and a lot of similarities. Shows you, of course, the importance of similarities rather than differences. This is what we are practicing it up to date. It highlights the beauty of the diversity, of course, and makes the world more beautiful and connected place for everyone. I think every Bahraini today, from his place, he's a part of a cultural exchange from from the work. For example, in the AlBilad newspaper, we wrote a lot of beautiful things about the cultural exchange. Even we do some interviews abroad via Zoom to explain about Bahrain. And of course, the cultural exchange is, as my colleague said, it's about food, sports, music. There's a variety of things we can share and we can talk about it. Dr. Dhafer, you're always, when you talk to me, you tell me you have only 5 minutes and you repeat it twice to me. So I try to be in this in 5 minutes. So I made my points to be at less than 5 minutes. And thank you for listening, and thank you for having me with you. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you, Excellency Moanes. Wallahi, I know that you can say more than that, and all of you, anyone, every one of you can have a whole lecture on cultural exchange. But because of the timing we have guests from outside Bahrain, we don't want them to stay with us forever. So I'd like to thank you all. And one thing I want to mention, thank God that we have His Majesty, our King, who really is a pioneer of cultural exchange. He is the one who is promoting cultural exchange from Bahrain to the whole world. And that's what made Bahrain a neutral zone. Bahrain is a place who really cares about the whole world. We are not troublemakers. We don't want to war. We don't want to fight with anybody. We just want to live with everybody else. And other than I am a diplomat, I was an economist, and I can tell you, the economists say the most important thing in development is people-to-people development. And this is really cultural exchange. You really have people to get together because all of us are people of the world, and all of us are, the more you travel, the more you feel that you learn more, and you feel that all the people in the world are the same. So really, we need to work hard in making sure that whoever is living on this part of the world should be a brother, a sister, and a friend. And I'd like to thank you all again, my dear friends, Her Excellency Nancy and His Excellency Mohammed and His Excellency Moanes for your very short presentation, but very effective. That's what matters. And I will leave the floor, thank you very much again, and I will leave the floor to my friend, President Faisal, to conduct the question and answer sessions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, DG Dhafer, and thank you to all three of our guests. So we'll start the question and answer round now. And I would request all guests to either raise your hand using there's an icon you can click on your screen to raise your hand, so we know if you're going to ask a question, or type in the question in your chat, and I'll put you in the question queue. So I think it's the best way to be fair to everyone and to get through all the questions in time. So who would like to ask the first question? I don't see. Oh, Rotaract member Hassan Vaad, please ask your question.
Thank you, President Faisal. Thank you very much, Dr. Dhafer, Your Excellency Nancy, Your Excellency Mohammed, and Your Excellency Moanes. It's a spot-on speeches that you've all put together, but I would just like to emphasize just one point, if I may. When you see like Bahrain have such a diverse, so many different nationalities blend into one country, how much does it, in your opinion, widen their view and eliminate hatred or racism in this country or in people's mindsets?
Sorry, just again, why? Your question.
Again, Hassan, again.
Okay, so basically we see in Bahrain there are many different nationalities, and we also have different religion type. We have Christian, we have Muslim, and then Jews, Hindu, and Punjabs. When you blend all these, when you put them all together in one country, that creates a diversification. How much does it help also people widen their connections with other people in culture? How much does it bring a positive impact, in your opinion?
Can I give my view on that?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
By all means.
Please.
Yes, I think it's helped a lot. For example, if you are in this society, this beautiful society, you understand their background of any culture or any country. So, for example, let me talk about myself. I was raised in Al-Fadl neighborhood, and it's mix of all this religion and culture. We understand why they are celebrating. We are participate with their celebration. We are in their parties, in their ceremonies. I think this is the beauty, to understand every culture, understand the background of each other. So we are growing in this culture. So no need to somebody from outside to tell us how can we live together. As Dr. Dhafer mentioned, His Majesty King Hamad, he polished and he put this all of means of exchange culture, living together, shining always. So this is what the benefit, to live together and to understand each other.
Thank you. Maybe Mohammed or Nancy, you want to say something on this?
Nancy, would you like to go first? Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Well, I think Moanes has already kindly, clarified this, but in my personal opinion also, it's definitely related to, as he mentioned, where everyone used to live in the neighborhoods, regardless of our religious diversity and cultures. It also comes back to our family upbringing, the open-mindedness of leadership and government, and how awareness is always built in us naturally from generation to generation. So this is, I think, something that is definitely in our blood as Bahrainis, for people who may not be aware about it internationally, because they always find it too good to be true sometimes, and saying, really, you've got Jewish people in Bahrain, really you have Baha'i, really you have, for some of them who may not have the opportunity to travel to our country and to openly see and to interact, I think being Bahrainis, being ambassadors for our countries when we travel abroad, and sharing this, whether we were in our student exchanges, whether we're bringing it on to our children and on our generations to come, I think this has really also got to do with family upbringing that has also allowed this diversification to be accepted. Because if our families, if our parents and grandparents weren't as open-minded and as well educated as they were, I don't think we'd be as broad-minded today as we are as Bahrainis. So this is just my personal perspective.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you. Mohammed?
Again, I think Nancy said it all. But it is really,
almost Nancy said it.
After that, next time I'm going to speak before her, just to make sure I get to say he's very.
It's always the woman.
Yeah.
It's always the woman who never allows the man.
Exactly. No, I mean, I just want to say that getting the most benefit out of cultural exchange doesn't necessarily happen because you're in close proximity with diversity. You can't be in close proximity with so many people that are different to you, but you could be shielding yourself and not really embracing this, these other cultures and diversities and otherness that is around you. And this is where I go to Nancy's points. Two things. It comes from the leadership and their vision of tolerance and embracing all the different cultures, and it comes from the family nucleus. And I think that is so key, because I mean, it can be the direction of a nation to embrace and so on, but it is the family environment, it's the family, that nucleus in the middle that really says how you embrace and how you interact with what may be considered different, but you stop looking at them as different. And that's the part when you become the very evolved part that Bahrain has reached, is they don't look at other cultures and their different cultures. They look at it as it's part of them. It's part of their identity. And I don't want to start speaking about identity, because then I'm not going to be speaking. I know Dr. Dhafer is going to be looking at me and his watch at the same time. But identity in itself, or that idea of an identity, is one where you stop seeing the differences with others and you see them as just a part of you. And this is Bahrain. This is the Bahrain that I saw. Over.
Okay, Faisal, we have past President Osama wants to speak.
Yes.
And then our friend, Dr. Hussam.
Yes, yes.
Comes next. Osama.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Dhafer. Thank you, Faisal, and my friends, the speakers. I will speak in English today, so you will not say that those people of Rotary Club of Seef Bahrain speaks only Arabic. So I will do my best to speak in English. Culture, it's how we say it. Now we always go comparing culture or whatever to religion. This is wrong. Religion is not culture. Culture is something ethnic, something in us. Yani, I am a Bahraini Muslim or a Bahraini Christian or Bahraini Jew. I'm still a Bahraini. So this is my culture. Culture is where I come from. What is my background? It's not my religion. Religion does have nothing with the culture. Although sometimes the religion, that's my opinion, sometimes religion affects the culture somehow. But this is, and if we go to Saudi Arabia, it's Saudi Arabia. It's the heart of the Arab world, and it's the heart of the Arabs. So the culture there is Arab. It is Arab. We go to Europe, it's the same. Europe is culture is Europe, but we can see the culture difference in Anglo-Saxons or Saxons or East Europeans or whatever. So culture is not religion, my friends. Religion is something different. This is one. The second thing, always people who accept other cultures and can exchange, we can see them by the coast, by the sea. Yani my dear friends in Egypt now, if you look at Cairo, how they accept others from other cultures, it's not easy. But if you go to Alexandria, it's much easier. That's why you find 60% of the Alexandrians are not Egyptians in origin. If you come to Bahrain, it's the same. Always the coast people, because they trade, they go and come back, they go to other countries, so they accept the other cultures. Culture is in us. It's not in our religion. It's where we belong to and where is our, backbone is from. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Osama.
Dr. Dhafer, I have to clarify one point to Dr.
طبعا لازم ترد على أسامة ما يحتاج.
No. Dear Osama, thank you for your of course, culture is different than religion, but in my point of view, the religion give you, especially in Bahrain, the background of the culture of the people who practice this religion. For example, who are in Hindus. They are mostly, we find it in Bahrain, they are from India. Okay? So when they practice their religion and we saw their culture, it is, I think, complement each other. This is why I mentioned the religion, but I agree with you as the principle, the culture is different than religion, but in my country, it was show as reflecting of the culture from the religion, especially this religion, it is not familiar in our neighbors. This is my point.
Thank you. هالمرة اسمح لي
أبو محمود في something. If I find someone in the street and I see him an Indian, if he's from Punjab or from Bengal or from Kerala or whatever, I will look at him as Indian, not to his religion.
No. I'm not saying no. My point is
that's his culture. It's a great culture.
No. The religion is religion. Sometimes religions reflect the culture of the people. Reflect. It's helping us to understand more. This is my point. I cannot see nobody take his religion and shows in his face. But when I understand that this culture, because of this religion, is reflecting each other. This is my point when I mentioned the culture. But I agree with you. But this is why I just want to clarify why I mentioned the religion in my when I talk about the culture.
Faisal, if allow me, this time I want to start with Mohammed and later with Nancy, because so that they don't, so that Mohammed doesn't every time you know, tell us that his thoughts been stolen from him.
It's
I'll leave this entirely in your control.
Gender equality, a debate that the UN is leading. That's the repercussions of it. No, thank you very much. I really don't. I mean, I really don't have much to say about this point, except for, well, we generally do not box identities at all, and for us, it really is it becomes a part of so many different characteristics, and identities continue to shift along time. I'm sorry, the people that we are today in this country, in this place, probably were not the same people that we were a few decades ago. So we continue to evolve as humans, as a civilization. And the more that we're ready to embrace this cycle of evolving, the more we're going to be in peace with our inner selves as well. And that is the part that unfortunately we see causing so much conflict many places across the world, when people are so tied to their identity that they feel that it is the only thing that defines them, but rather than embracing that identity is something that also continues to evolve. You can always keep the good parts in it and continue to build on it with whatever good parts that you find from across the world. So I'll stop there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed. Nancy, you want to say a few words?
I mean, thank you very much. I mean, nothing more, but of course it is a very important topic. And again, cultural acceptance or culture in general, it really helps human beings. We're all human, and humanity, we help humanity. It helps us experience and just understand the world, respect people for their different points of view. Again, as the gentleman rightfully said, regardless of religious differences. Of course, as Moanes also said, religion, in his opinion, is of course a fundamental way, because we learn, and it's built on principles that teach us how to be good with people. All religions teach people to be respectful, to be accepting, to want peace. So it's really also sometimes hand in hand together. And I think it's just very important for our own, from our own perspective, interacting socially one another in any country, from wherever we may be, is always to be respectful of each other, because what one idea or norm would be to someone might not agree with us personally, but at the end of the day, we say, I respect you for your belief, whatever you think or whatever choice you're making, and that's it. So just to be accepting, very important.
Thank you, Nancy. دكتور حسام، تأخرنا عليك، سامحنا، and شرفتنا بصراحة بالروتري السلمانية. Please go ahead.
Allah يخليك. I would like to thank you very much for inviting me to attend this very interesting meeting. I would like also to thank Faisal for being kind enough to send the invitation. I don't want to talk for so long, but for us, from the sociological point of view, we can define culture as the way we do things here. So that's why there are different cultures within even different countries. If I return to the point that was raised about the religion is an integral part. It is an integral part of anybody's culture. Even those who are not in religious faith, still they form their culture based on the influence of other people. My question now, and maybe because of the Rotary, this is a very good question, is, well, let's not think what is the reason for the conflict, and what I would like to discuss here, what kind of initiatives that we as Rotarians can build up in such a way that we minimize the friction being imposed on different religions between the youth and maybe the other Rotarians worldwide. So again, in brief, what kind of initiatives that we can do that can help the world to be better? one more time, I would like to thank you very much for giving me the opportunity, and would like to hear our fellow Rotarians' ideas about this. Thank you.
Shukran, Dr. Hussam. Allow me, Dr. Hussam, just to say one thing from my experience. يعني in Rotary, and طبعا President Faisal knows, and all the other presidents, whenever people try to join us as Rotary, we never look at them, how they look, what is their religion, from where they're coming. The first thing we care, are they coming to serve their community or not? What matters is serving their community. So it doesn't matter who they are people like us, and their efforts to serve their community is appreciated by us, and that's why we shake hands with them, and we allow them, and we actually invite them to join us. Maybe our friends Nancy and Mohammed and Moanes can say something else. Thank you.
Well, I would like, before they start, I would like to comment on this. It's not a matter of being Rotarians among Rotarians. What I'm trying to say is, how can we build an initiative as Rotarians to smoothen up any religious conflicts or whatsoever in the communities we live in? Well, as a Rotarian, I really do not care what kind of religious people are, but there are in the streets out there, there are people who really care, and we want to educate them how to deal. That's what right. I think of.
That's right. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mohammed, you want to say something?
Sometimes, I mean, I'm not going to speak about the Rotarian initiatives. I leave that to the Rotarians themselves. But I can say that there is always, we can always, when it comes to embracing diversity and culture exchange, we can always start within ourselves, in our own households. And part of the thing that we see here that is very common that we look at, and I think it's related a bit to one of the questions here on the chat about the role of women in cultural exchange and fostering acceptance and coexistence. And so look at your, I mean, for example, domestic workers are they're part of a very common part of our household here in Bahrain and the rest of the Gulf area and so on. A lot of them are women living, domestic workers living within in our household with their own culture, with their own differences. The relationship that we foster for our children, the relationship that we have with those individuals that become part of our families as well, the bridges that we build to understand their culture, to understand and embrace their cultures, that it becomes also part of us, is a very important exercise. You do it in your own household, within yourself. And that is part that I think is a very important exercise as well. Our children take a lot away from the cultures of the domestic workers that actually that spend so much time with them. So how do we embrace it? How do we build the relationship with these specific individuals that are key parts of the family? That's a part that I always look at in terms of a personal initiative in the small household. I'll stop here. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody, any comment from our friends, speakers?
Thank you.
Go, Moanes, تفضل.
Just I want to mention, in the 80s and 70s, there in the United States, there what they call the Arabs phobia. And today we have Islamic phobia. Anyway, this is of course happening because from people, they are not responsible to spread this kind of the picture to them. I agree with Mr. Mohammed. The personal initiative should be like everybody take it from his house for his children, even when he's traveling. And all of us, we have contact, international contact. So from our, let's say, dealing with them, this is kind of cultural exchange. It is take time, it is tough, now, especially with people, they are not contact us directly with our culture. We try to take our the initiative to take the culture and we share it with them to show them the similarities are there more than any difference. Thank you.
Nancy, you would like to say something?
Thank you very much. In addition, of course, to what the other panelists have shared, from my point of view, of course, cultural acceptance has an intrinsic value. By promoting our own self-confidence as individuals, we're able to create a more harmonious environment wherever we go, be it in the workplace, be it in the home. But again, for example, cultural awareness, say, in the work environment, when a team of staff are unified and working together with a common objective, you bring about that, how to say, that harmonious environment where you like to come to work and you help people, and regardless, like for example, in the recent pandemic that most country, of course, we all had this global challenge. Regardless of cultural diversity, whatever it was, doctors, nurses, whether they were Bahraini, non-Bahraini, they were working together as a team, again, unified in diversity and just reaching a common objective, saving lives.
Thank you, Nancy. Shafkat, it's your turn. Shafkat Menon, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dhafer. And interesting discussion so far. Dr. Dhafer, my name is Maman, not Manon. So
Maman, sorry, I'm sorry. Sorry, Maman.
I mean, I enjoyed this discussion. I've watched it and I've personally experienced this. You know, I was born in Pakistan, but I've lived in 6 different countries, okay, including Bahrain. And not just a visitor, but spent several years. Now, what I find is that there's so many influences that in a way for individuals, that culture is created. In my opinion, the culture that our children will follow will probably be an amended and updated or version 5 or version 7 of the culture that we followed. I mean, where I was born, where I spent time. So many things that influence you, your place of birth, your city, your family, your relatives, the country, where your school. But it's very interesting that we spend so much time today just defining what culture is, or, you know. So there are so many different opinions in terms of, is it religion, is it where you're born? But one thing that is very clear, all of us, if we follow the rules which define a good human, which is to treat everybody with respect, accept them for their for whatever they are saying. I mean, don't get into a fight, do not get into. So accepting others, I think, frankly, it helps. But at the same time, I mean, the place I was born, this is an area called Zarkani, which is where the oldest civilization in the found is 6,000-year-old Mohenjo-daro, okay? Which, by the way, is the same civilization. If you go to Bahrain Fort, you will find that Mohenjo-daro and Delman, they had these trading paths going back 5,000 years ago. So these are all things that influence our culture. Ultimately, we can talk about what good or bad culture is if we accept each other, if we respect each other, if we are good to each other. That is what ultimately will, you know, of course, there's the other part where we listen to each other's songs, music, say salam instead of shalom, or, you know, hello instead of, you know, ma salama, etc., etc. So all these things, ultimately, the entire purpose is how can we become better humans, ourselves, our children, and the society around us. Thank you very much. So I guess this is more of a commentary rather than a question, but frankly, I thought I should contribute that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shafat Memon, not Memon.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Doctor.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'll tell you what, we'll leave the comments of our speakers to give a chance for Osama. You have one more question? Osama?
Before we move to, sorry, Past President
Just
Osama.
one word to close up this, Doctor. Thank you very much, Dr. Dhafer. I've discovered something.
Before you, sorry, Past President Osama. We have a question from Riham. I'd just like to read out.
Riham, okay,
out of the you know, to be fair to everyone, she typed it before.
Hello, Sahla Riham. Hello, Sahla.
I'll just look for the question somewhere here in the chat. Oh dear, I lost it. Wait. Oh, here it is. The role of women in cultural exchange, fostering acceptance and coexistence despite the challenges at the Arab world in case of refugees, immigrants. What are the cultural exchange initiatives available for fostering peacemaking for youth? Doctor, did you get all that?
I got it, but you need now to pass this question to our speakers. You have Moanes, you have Nancy, and you have Mohammed. So, are they ready to answer this?
I'll let you choose which one.
I will. It looks like Nancy is excited about it. So Nancy, because it has to do with women. So please, women.
Thank you very much. It's a very nice question, actually, both of them. It's just that when it comes to women advancement, I mean, regardless whether you're male or female, you're all there serving each other in whichever society you're living in. And to my understanding, when you asked about youth, we do have many cultural programs, in my opinion. And of course, I'm sure that our panelist from the United Nations, His Excellency Mohammed Zarkani, will be able even to share with us perhaps about the current programs and maybe future programs that they'll be looking at. For example, if we look at the recent Abraham Accords, in all such agreements between different countries, it's always focused on student exchanges, cultural exchanges. So to my understanding, even like the King Hamad Global Center has signed a number of memoranda of understanding with different universities and organizations, and it's really more about visits, exchange visits, learning about each other's country and culture. So to my understanding, that's my updated information. It's going to be more cultural visits, etc.
Okay. Osama, Faisal, let me pass the question, the last question to Osama, because then I'll give a chance for the others to comment. Osama, go ahead, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dhafer. I found something great in you today after a few years of being close friends. You know, you are an extra good panelist, and you can manage this all in a beautiful way. Thank you, Dr. Dhafer.
You're welcome.
The other thing I just want to put it on culture, it's there even in the same country, not outside the country, because it was mentioned now. If you go to different villages or towns or whatever, you would find difference in culture even. You have to adapt with. It's very important to look at it from this point of view. Because my dear friend Abu Mahmoud said, اللي هو الفوبيا العربية والفوبيا الإسلامية, whatever, I just want to end up my words of speech with this. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم. This is what Islam came with. هذا هو الإسلام اللي لازم يكون. إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل. This is cultural exchange. لتعارفوا. God said that to us. Do it. فإحنا we can exchange our culture with people who are willing to exchange culture with us, not the offensive, not the killers, not the but this is what I have to say. وصدق الله العظيم. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you, Osama. We will never deny what God said. We are all on His side. Maybe Moanes or Nancy want to say something before I pass all this to our President Faisal to continue his important meeting.
Nothing from my side.
Nancy?
Is it like by way of a conclusion, just as a final thought, you mean, on the topic before we conclude?
No, it's on what Osama just mentioned.
No, nothing further to add to that. Thank you.
Great. Can I, Faisal, just say one thing? My late father, His Excellency Ahmed Alumran, one thing he told me before he dies, may peace be upon him, said, "My son, do not differentiate between your people of Bahrain. All Bahrainis are your people. Do not look at, I am a Sunni, طبعا, but I am also proud to be a Bahraini. That's what comes first. So please do not distinguish between Bahraini, Sunni or Shia or Christian. Whoever is in Bahrain are all your people. Please treat all people of Bahrain as your people. That's what really matters. It is education. Like Nancy and Moanes and Mohammed said, it's with education in the house we start learning how to treat all people in our country the same. Thank you very much. Faisal, that